Hey, community, here's what's brewing today.
MLK Day.
Ask your aunties, dry January.
And Miss Universe. France! Come ready for Minority Report.
Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Kerel.
It's Auntie Dawon.
And it's Auntie Jerrell.
Hey, and happy MLK Day today. Hey.
Yes.
And before we even go any further, I just kind of wanted to read this quick little blurb because a lot of people are aware of MLK and like the I Have a Dream speeches and things like that, but he's had dozens, if not hundreds of other speeches that still ring true today. So I took a couple little blurbs from one of his speeches that's called The Other America. And he did this at Grosse Pointe High School. And if this is Grosse Pointe, I think this is in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Unless I guess there's maybe a lot of Grosse Pointes. But anyway, this was on March 14th, 1968. And he said, the first thing I would like to mention is that there must be recognition on the part of everybody in this nation that America is still a racist country. Now, however unpleasant that sounds, it is the truth. And we will never solve the problem of racism until there is a recognition of the fact that racism still stands at the center of so much of our nation. And we must see racism for what it is. And then a little later on, he goes, secondly, we've got to get rid of 2 or 3 myths that still pervade our nation. One is the myth of time. I'm sure you've heard this notion. It is the notion that only time can solve the problem of racial injustice. And I've heard it from many sincere people. They've said to the Negro and to his allies in the white community, you should slow up. You're pushing things too fast. Only time can solve the problem. And if you'll just be nice and patient and continue to pray, in 100 or 200 years, the problem will work itself out. There is an answer to that myth. It is that time is neutral. It can be used either constructively or destructively. Now, there's another myth that is the notion that legislation can't solve the problem, that you've got to change the heart. And naturally, I believe in changing the heart. It may be true that morality cannot be legislated, but behavior can be regulated. It may be true that the law cannot change the heart, but it can restrain the heart less. It may be true that the law can't make a man love me, but it can restrain him from lynching me. And I think that's I think that is pretty important also. And so while legislation may not change the hearts of men, it does change the habits of men when it's vigorously enforced. And when you change the habits of people, pretty soon attitudes begin to be changed, and people begin to see that they can do things that fears cause them to feel that they could never do. So a lot of times we hear around like MLK, especially in white communities, they'll start picking blurbs and things and saying, oh, he was about peace and this and that. And but yes, he was that, but he also preached a lot of times things that here we are in 2023 that are still very pertinent to this day that we still haven't really worked on to conclusion that we need to, because like you said, the myth of time will heal all. No, sometimes you gotta put some work into it, some legislation, and that's why we preach voting and things like that. So I saw that kind of come up, and actually it came up at work, this particular speech, and I was like, oh, you know what, that's right on time. Let's do this on the podcast. So just when you talk about MLK, do your research. There's more out there than just I Have a Dream. There's other speeches that still really speak 60 years later to exactly what we're still dealing with today. So,
and put some respect on his name.
I know that's right.
And I would also encourage people to, I know everyone do not get MLK off.
Yeah.
But I encourage people to take some time to volunteer, to donate, to show up, because to his speech, it's also about action.
Yeah.
Like you said, when it came to time, it could be constructive or deconstructive, and you got to make sure that you are putting your money where your mouth is. You're backing up your words by actions. And so I would really encourage everyone to just take time, maybe not just an hour and in a week, and just invest into communities that into our community, and make sure that you are representing your allyship if you are not part of the Black community.
That part. That part. So happy MLK Day. I'm glad to be black hoe. So it is what
Damn.
it is. You ain't getting rid of us.
Although
They be bored without us.
Look, although my DNA may say otherwise,
We claim you as our own. Oh,
and
Lord.
I'm going to start off by saying I owe my girl, Silky Nutget.
You can't even get
And you
her
can't
name
even
right.
say her name right.
Oh.
And she talking about, I'm sorry. Mhm.
Well, I did take a shot right before we started, so I might be a little slurred. But Silky Nutmeg Ganache, I want to say I apologize for dragging your name through the dirt. I meant what I said, but I could have said it nicer.
I don't even know how to take that.
Like I said in the comments, she said what she said, didn't she?
Oh, Lord.
Listening back to that, I was just like,
I was
It was
goofed again all over again.
like Mortal Kombat after the end, like, finish him.
Honey. He said bodied.
And they were all trashed.
I was like, oh my
Look,
God.
and that wasn't even part of like our like producer notes for the episode. Like that was all like just impromptu conversation. But you know,
Oh yeah,
when you go there, we go there too.
Because we wrapped up and didn't we go back to it?
Yep,
Yeah,
we
'cause,
stopped
like,
the
I-
episode.
Because like
You
we had it in the
that
notes to
in
talk
there
about Drag Race, but
perfectly.
we kind of the episode was getting long. But then we're like, oh, we gotta talk about Drag Race, and then Dawon spoke from her heart.
Girl, from the heart.
I need.
It takes a lot for anymore. It takes a lot for us to like be gooped and gagged of what we say to each other. For both Jerrell and I to be like twice in a row. You know, Dawon was on that. He was on that spirit that day.
Look, I was like,
So it's
I know
like,
my
ooh.
ministry.
Listen, I meant what
It
I
ain't
said, but I could have said it in a different kind of way because and it's not like I got any like hate or anything as a
No.
result of it, but like I genuinely felt bad because I was
you was just missing the and who gonna check me, boo? That was the only thing you were missing at this point. It was very.
And if y'all missed last week, go check last week's episode out. And listen to the whole episode because it's towards the end, so you might as well listen to the whole episode. But yeah, had us gooped and gagged and speechless.
Yeah. Speaking of Drag Race, how do y'all like the season premiere, season 15?
Well, first
the
before
longest episode.
hold on, before we even go in there, we just have
Yeah.
we have to promote like what's coming up.
Yes. I'm glad you said that. January 20th. And I guess we picked that date originally because we thought it was going to be a split premiere. But they said we're going to just give you 9 hours of drag. But January 20th, we are going to do a live watch party with Yo AunTeas here. So it's going to be streaming on what? Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
So it's going to be Friday, at 8 p.m. is the normal time of the show. So we're going to be on here. And you go probably hear Dawon and what he got to say live.
I usually like to watch Drag Race in the privacy of my own home.
I wonder why.
But back to what we watched. This will be a very interesting season. I think first and foremost, and I don't want to give like a lot away because there's still people out there who somehow hasn't seen, some of the clips that have happened, but
there will be 2 episodes out by the time this episode comes out. So let it go.
3.
Let them have it.
It'll be the 3rd episode by the
Technically 3.
Technically,
well,
3.
Because it was 2 parts, but
1
2
and
Fridays would have passed. Yeah,
Right.
2 Fridays would have passed. So it ain't a spoiler.
And 48 hours of Drag Race.
It was the longest premiere. I was just sitting there like, it's a lot of queens.
Yeah.
And now I see why they do the 2 night premiere because I was like, dog, like by hour 2, I was just like, okay, like this is too much.
It's a lot. I'm just
even
gonna
with
say
the
this.
limited amount of commercials, it was still a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But I was here for it.
I'm gonna say this. I think they need to get rid of the whole entrance stuff altogether and just start out with the talent shows because, quite frankly, the whole part 1 of the 2-part episodes, we didn't even need. Just give us a talent. Show us what you got from the jump. Let's see what you got. Because quite frankly, see, can't get it out. Quite
this
frankly,
is the spirit of Silky.
Right?
Gotcha, bitch.
She's like, how dare you promote some other queens over me? Quite frankly, this is probably, in my opinion, one of the most talented season of queens. When you think about like the intellect that went into and the creativity that went into their performances that I've seen in a very long time. And it made me really excited for what the season has in store. And I'm very curious about like what else are they going to show? Because even though the talent show is not something that is new and fresh, for some reason seeing it this early in the season felt new and fresh to me.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
Ooh, I don't know if it's the most talented. I don't know if I could say that yet. And I think for once I might be the odd person out because there's maybe, at least so far, it's the first episode, even though it was a long ass episode, it's the first episode. There's maybe 5 queens that I'm like, okay, I would pay my hard earned money to definitely go out there and see. Some of them, I told Corey when we were watching, I was like, it's just interesting now we're getting queens that literally their whole life has been Drag Race. Mm-hmm. Like they grew up with Drag Race and now the social media and the TikToks of the world, that I feel like this is the first true season that we're really starting to see that change of the guard of a generational like turn of drag. Honestly, because like some of these queens are so young and all they know is social media drag and drag race drag. So
there's
part of me is just like
4 of them with less than 2 years of drag experience.
Right? And so for me, part of me is just like, I don't even know if they even know who they are yet in drag, like culture yet, and drag, what they want to say in drag and what they want to be in drag. And part of it, they don't necessarily have to. You can have multiple lives of drag if you want to, post drag race and things like that. But it's just going to be interesting to see if they're going to just be one trick drag queens or going to really be able to pull some stuff out of their bags that maybe even social media does help with, because you got to create content daily. So kind of coming up with new stuff. So I'm excited for that piece, but there's somewhere I'm like, I could do without you. And by some, probably a good 10, it feels like.
What do you think, Jerrell?
Well, this is only my second regular season. So
that's true.
I already say I like it better than the last one.
Well, that's not saying a lot.
That's not saying a lot at all.
Let me tell you,
because you could be watching paint
dry,
and
I had PTSD when what's her name came out with the chocolate bar in her little rap, and I was like, oh no, not the chocolate bar. I was having flashbacks. I was like, no. But I think I lean more towards with you, Kerel. I am very much like, I feel like an old gay, because like these young girls, Sugar and Spice, literally it was the same song. It was the same song, and it was the Nicki Minaj we grew up to.
It was Roman.
Roman Revenge, literally. That's literally what it was. And I'm like, you didn't invent that. Like, that's shit. You know what I'm saying?
The Ding-a-Lang song did kind of crack me up, though. I will give her that. With the Ding-a-Lang go. With the Ding-a-Lang go. I was like, okay, that's kind of a bop.
That was cute. But it was, they were very much like, I don't know. I just didn't see much to go off of. But everyone knows who they are, apparently. For Sugar and Spice, yeah. Everyone knows who they are, apparently. So
I never heard of them. I don't really. Honestly, I don't follow drag queens. I mean, well, let me rephrase. I don't follow like a lot of drag queens. I follow a few, and the ones that I do follow are ones that I've seen on Drag Race. So I'm not like out there scouring like, the internet. No.
Yeah. But I will say though, my favorites are all pretty much the season queens. All the season queens are the ones that I liked the most. I really loved Homegirl from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like a Silky. She looked like the way she
kind of does.
Looks like
Silky.
She kind of does.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
But her, and never mind.
Don't drag her like you do see her.
And then I really liked what's her name from Houston? Was she from Houston?
Oh, the Hispanic queen.
S
Yeah,
titties.
yeah.
S titties.
Nope.
No,
Oh.
That's the girl from
oh,
California.
I forget her
Hold on, I
name.
gotta look up the whole cast because
I don't know any of their names except Anitra, honey, because
Yeah.
that's the only one that I've been watching on loop for the last couple of days.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she good. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is
So
her name?
I don't know. That's just kind of my quick little summary. But who were your favorites? Dawon. While he
Anitra.
looked it up. Anitra. That's Anitra.
I like
Anitra.
I liked a lot of the performances. I thought they were creative. I thought, and I can't remember all the names right now because
Mistress Isabel Brooks is who you're talking about.
There you go.
Oh damn!
There you go.
Long ass name. Yeah.
There's a bunch of them with some long ass names.
Honey.
Yeah.
They're giving you like 18 names all wrapped up. I'm like, this
Wow.
is too damn much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't tell you what the names are right now because there's just too many people. But I like a lot of them. I like a lot of the old dolls. I like a lot of the new dolls too. Like, it's just interesting to see, regardless of one's background, people coming in prepared. And
Yeah.
honestly, I have two thoughts. One is I'm very curious to see how much additional funds they threw to help support these talent show performances, because a lot of people came with like their own tracks and they own like backgrounds and like all this other kind of stuff. So like I wonder how much
Mhm.
additional support they got to really make it be the best that it could be, especially since
Yeah.
it changed platforms, moving to
I mean,
MTV
they're about
for
to
the
win
first time.
$200,000. I'm
Right.
like, girl, on
Right.
a regular season,
Right.
Okay, now they got that MCV money.
Girl.
Right. So that was going through my head. The other thing that went through my head was a little bit of a gag because like when and I know Jerrell, you don't know this because this is only season number 2 for you of watching, but like when oh my god, what is her name? Damn. When
I got the thing listed up. Describe her.
no, the chick with the head on top of the head, but it came out and it was
Starts with a V.
Vivacious.
Yes.
Love it.
How somebody got like the half of the group, the first group got Ariana Grande as Vivacious, but then the
And then
second
you
group
got
got
the
actual
actual one.
Vivacious.
It's like,
First of all, I was
It's
first of all, I was
chocolate.
first of all, I was gooped and gagged that it was Ariana Grande to begin with. That was so
Uh-huh.
clever and so cute, and I'm glad they were able to get that happen. But how pissed off would you be if you found out that the other girls got to actually meet Ariana Grande and you got the real Vivacious?
Right.
Like,
Like,
I
girl,
would be
Ariana, you could have
pissed.
stayed a couple extra hours. What you had to do?
I would have been pissed because that's all they
1000%.
talked about when they got
Oh,
together.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all get to
Yeah.
meet Ariana Grande too?
No, they
You're
came
like,
in and
what
said,
you
"Oh,
need?
did y'all see Vivacious? Vivacious? No, she had a costume on. It was Ariana. Wait,
They're
y'all
like-
saw Ariana Grande?
But to be fair, she was the judge, so they all got to see
Yes.
her. And I'm sure she
Sure.
went back there doing the uncut and got to kick it and stuff like that too.
Sure.
I will say
But-
one queen that surprised me because the drag aesthetic is so not what I look for in a drag performer. Marsha surprised the shit out of me because I thought she was gonna be very like she plays up the basicness of her drag, but her performance cracked me up. I was
Yeah,
like,
she had a really good performance,
okay.
but I kind of knew that based on how she described her background. Like she's a theater, she's an MFA, Master of Fine Arts, so she has a theater background. You know that she can sing. She's clearly a dancer. She's a performer.
I thought she was gonna be another Jan, and Jan got on my nerves.
Well, but that's less about Jan's talent and more about her personality, I think.
Yeah, and that's just Jan spoiling it for every
Right, like
every white drag queen.
calm down, bitch. Damn. But
I liked Marsha as well too. She kind of made me laugh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see how far she can go with that though. Like,
Yeah.
because everyone, and also that bitch ain't even old enough to know the Brady Bunch too. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
How'd she get that damn name?
And she only wore chapstick and a little mascara. I'm glad they called
Right.
that shit out. Because if she don't paint her face,
Yeah.
they'll boot her. It's like we
Yeah.
told you to paint your face, and we told y'all not to come up here in no flats.
Right.
Y'all still coming up here in some tennis shoes.
I love that old girl that went home, the shady bitch of them all, though. She did read all the young
Oh my
queens real
God.
quick. And she was like, I love how all the young girls think they could come here with human hair slicked back. And they fan on all of them.
That's not quite 40 inches.
I mean, she did have a point because it was
She
about
did
20
have a
off. It was 20
Yeah.
off.
It looked like it was about 34.
And to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed that she left because I could see the potential in her performance. Like,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be kind of like cringy, you know, and it was supposed to be a lot of awkward silence, but it just did not land. She
It was
she
just
wasn't
as
able to
awkward as
execute.
Gerard Carmichael's opening to the Golden Globes.
Let me say this. It's like y'all hear that trying to have like they're talking about like how some white gays think they funny and they like but they ain't shit funny.
Mm.
Let me tell you, that's Seattle for you. They like to laugh
Oh.
at shit all the time out here and ain't shit funny. I'm like, you think that's funny?
Okay, so
Like-
that's the Seattle drag.
So
thing.
that's what yeah,
it.
that's the type of shit that they do out here in Seattle that people be like, oh my god, that's so hilarious. It's so different. I'm like, bitch, it is water and ice cubes. But I don't know, Kerel, you laughed at that damn sandwich though. What's
the
her name?
sandwich was so funny.
And
though.
guess what? And she from Seattle too. That's
Oh,
the type of shit that I be talking about.
Yeah.
Both them girls are from Seattle. That's the type of
Because like you said, I could see how it could if you worked on the timing of it, of the ice water, for it to be funny. But like they said, there was no punchline. And honestly, I don't think there was probably ever a punchline the way she was describing it. And then I watched her on like, you know how the queens, if you get voted off, you go talk to Michelle Visage on YouTube and all that.
Mhm.
I watched that and she kept on saying even on there, oh yeah, I picked the wrong parts. No, that's your justification. That shit just wasn't funny.
Yes, ice and
Yeah.
water. How many parts are there?
You showed the ice, the glass, and the water. What else is there?
Are you gonna pour it on
Shit was
yourself?
funny.
Are you gonna drink it?
I got a sense of it like when she was trying to pull the ice out of the cup with her long nails. Like I got a sense of where she was going with it, you know.
just wasn't
But
it.
it just she just couldn't land it. Just couldn't.
You know,
land it.
and the longer that it gets silent, the more awkward it gets for everybody.
Right.
They keep showing Rue, and Rue's just like,
Yeah.
Well, and even Ariana was like, it just needed a punchline. So like if she did all of that and then was able
if
to
she
do
would have said,
something
"Oh, bitch,
else,
I'm playing. This is vodka," like something like that.
right?
That would have been funny.
Yeah, it needed a twist. It needed a twist.
So community, this is going to be some of the commentary that we need y'all to be in this live with us. You're going to hear us commenting in the moment as best as we can, because sometimes it's hard to comment and try to hear and things like that. But especially during them commercial breaks, we're going to get in there. Going to get in there. But so yeah, another season of Drag Race, 16 queens. I'm glad they booted somebody, and I'm glad it wasn't a twist at the end, because I was just waiting for them to be like, "Ooh, you ain't going home. You coming back." I'm glad it was just a normal ending. Let's get these bitches out, at least as far as we know as of now. So
Yeah,
give it time.
Ooh,
Give it time.
I can't. So yeah. So January 20th, watch it live with us. It'll be live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
yes.
By the way, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna talk about the Golden Globes, but
yeah. And so, to be honest, it's still live right now as we're recording tonight. But we were able to watch Gerard Carmichael's opening, which I was rooting for him, because a Black queer man to open the Golden Globes—that's huge. Even though he was right, they picked him because he was Black, which was very true. Again, it just didn't have a punchline. It had no.
The moment he sat on those steps, I said, "Nope,
It's a wrap."
Took
the whole energy out the room.
Yeah,
you know who they need? They need a Chris Rock.
Nope.
He would have been able to do that kind of punchline that they needed for that.
Well, he would have, but then he never mind.
Punchline.
He already got slapped. We don't need a punch. Come on now. We don't need Brad Pitt going up there like
You know, another person I would have been really good too, Dawon Cole. A lot of people don't know him, but he's actually
that's the key.
right. But he's funny,
and
he would have brought the energy that I think I would have.
That's like saying we need to get Adele Gibbons up there, girl. You know they don't know them. That's Black culture.
No, I mean, first of all, I think people know Dawon Cole enough, especially with his couples stand-ups on Netflix, and him being in Blackish and some other TV shows and stuff like that too on like Prime actual,
Yeah.
not on BET, on
Yeah.
actually Prime networks, okay? You know, so he been in enough white homes, you know, to be known,
Yeah.
to be known. But
yes, I do like Deion though. But,
Yeah.
But and then shout out to Angela Bassett.
yeah,
Shout out to her. Oh,
she looked great.
And if you heard stomping, because I was telling right now, because I'm gonna have to deal with it when we done recording. Corey was taking a nap, and I screamed when Angela won, and he texted me, "What the fuck?" And then I just heard him stomp up these stairs, so he mad that I woke him up.
Well, it was for a good reason.
It was for
Black
a great
excellence.
reason.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Don't be able to tell me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's Angela Bassett. Shit.
And the first Marvel movie to win a Golden Globe too.
Yeah.
Like, and it was done by us.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, the whole
Blackness for me.
I was expecting a little bit more out of her acceptance speech. I
think if she wins the Oscar, we will, because she's gotten a Golden Globe before,
right?
So.
But still, like, I was just expecting just a little more, something. Yeah, just a little. Here
Cheryl Lee Ralph.
I mean, she came up there with her cell phone. She's like, "Oh, I got to make sure I get," and it was just like it was an acceptance speech.
Though. Yeah, I thought. I mean, she gave what I was expecting of her. I don't know. Like, I just watching her on Instagram and like even just her posts is like, what is it, like just checking in or like how's everyone doing? Like, it was very much that. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was expecting for her acceptance.
And then Tyler James Williams also won. Right, we were recording here from Abbott Elementary, so it might be a big night for Abbott. Yeah. From like everybody hates Chris, another Chris Rock reference. Everybody hates Chris days. So that's dope, and I just hope it's not an overcorrection and that people are like, "Oh, of course, all the minorities gonna win tonight." It ain't that. These bitches been talented; they gonna stay talented. So don't even play.
Yeah.
And honestly, even if it is, I don't give a damn.
You right on that.
Like, give it to everybody black. Like, let them know how. Let everybody else know how it feels.
Well, you might be right on that.
Yeah,
you hit the note on that last part. You're right. You're right. And so we'll see as the night goes on. We may just be yelling out random blackness excellence while the Golden Globes goes on. Another black excellence that stayed winning is Tabitha Brown, low key.
Yeah.
She got 15 jobs. I think I love her. Launching that whole vegan line at Target, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, Target used to be one of my accounts, like my Bayer days. It's hard to launch stuff into these big retail chains. So to do that on that scale.
And I believe Target, and don't quote me on this, I should have looked this up, but to make sure that's right. But I believe that Target launched a campaign, a diversity and inclusion campaign that specifically focused around, ensuring that I think they want up to 10% of their products in their stores to be Black-owned businesses, which is a huge investment in in buying Black. So I think that's phenomenal, especially for the white asses over there in Milwaukee.
No, they're in Minneapolis.
They're in Minneapolis.
Same difference.
That too.
She was close. She was close. She basically said Tia Tamara.
That's a true statement.
Schlemazel.
That's a word.
I do have a back.
Launched her Donna recipe in Ulta this week as well. So
really?
Come on, Tabitha. I'm here for it. I'm
here for it.
And it better taste good. I'm gonna go try it. I'm gonna try a couple of them vegan things and see if it tastes good.
Well, let me know. It won't be me.
It won't be me.
Yeah.
She don't eat vegetables. She eat potatoes. That's it.
I had some corn and some peas and some carrots today for lunch.
Well, so yeah, like
I was
shepherd's
say
pie
in 2007.
So she had a shepherd's pie or something.
Want some noodles. But I do have a Black excellence that I have to shout out though, and that is to Fisk University.
Honey, their gymnastics team.
Which is their gymnastics team. The first women's HBCU gymnastics team at the NCAA competition.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know what I assumed, but when I saw that come across, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Right?" Okay. And they showing out too.
They showed out too. What was the name? Morgan Price ended up winning the vault too. Stuck that lady, bitch. I was like, yes. It was just so amazing to see.
We have another live Black excellence. Quinta from Abbott Elementary just won as well.
All right now.
Hey.
Yeah.
She
Hey,
keeps
come
staying
on.
blessed. She didn't come a
Period.
long way from, ooh, he got money to now she got
Right,
money.
right. The
Mm-hmm.
BuzzFeed days and all that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about just content now is like a lot of people like shit on a lot of content creators to
I
get your
mean,
voice out there. And okay,
Absolutely.
ABC wasn't giving her a lane before, so she created her own
mhm,
lane, and then they started calling and wanted her.
Yep.
So she's
mhm.
like, "You pay me what you owe me."
Yeah.
So no,
I
that's
will.
dope.
I will say, watch her kind of interview on The View from last week,
Yes, I watched that
and
too.
it was really good just to talk about her, like her come up when she was just doing stand-up comedy and just writing different comedies here and there, and she just really started making a lane for herself. It was really good.
And
It was
on
really
Black
good.
Lady Sketch Show too. She was on there that first season, so
Yeah, in the
she was
first
killing on
season
that.
too.
So
Yeah.
okay,
And
come on, Black
she did an
Excellence.
episode for with Oprah. She's part of that interview series
I
with
want to
Oprah.
watch that. Yeah, I want to watch that.
Is it
It's
good?
really good. It's really good, but just wait to the very end. She just talks about like how surreal it is, like being on Oprah's compound, like all the damn opulence that is around her. She's like, I can't fucking believe this.
I wouldn't
This
be
is
able to
like a
believe
dream.
it either. It's like shit. This is Oprah.
I saw a preview of it, and I forget what scene it was, but the way Oprah was looking at her, it was like she was looking at her like, who is this little girl on my couch right now?
Probably.
Like so disconnected. She was like, huh?
It's like,
You
who
did
is she?
what?
Right.
Like,
And
Love
she's
it.
going to be playing Oprah in the Weird Al Yankovic movie that's coming out.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
they
Quinta
got to,
is?
yeah, Quinta is playing
Mhm.
Oprah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, now. You
Yeah.
get a car.
So you gotta watch the little interview.
I need to watch that.
It's dope.
And community. Switching lanes here. Community bulletin board alert. Community bulletin board alert. So we ran out of time last week just because there was just a lot to fit in for being off for a month. But a couple of bulletin board alerts towards us came in over the holidays as well. So the first one, when we were going back over our best Ask Your Aunties of the year, and one of the Ask Your Aunties was talking about like if your significant other was on their dying deathbed and wanted to F somebody else before they died, would you let them? And for the most part, we were saying, yeah, like, okay, it is what it is kind of thing. They about to die anyway, which sounds kind of harsh, but it's someone, a community member let us know, said, my stance on that Ask Your Aunties has not changed. Fuck no. If my spouse wanted to fuck someone else as their last dying wish, they could go out alone. Deuces.
Damn. During the holiday season.
Honey.
No give during the holiday season. Damn.
And this person said, and y'all was trying hard to make it seem okay. Nope, period. You only going out with this dick, period. Asking for another dick, the nerve. LOL.
Knowing who this community member is too, I can hear the voice and like just
The thing is, like, I can't even say it like this person.
right show can't show. And it was the nope. Like could hear it.
This person was saying with such a straight face. Too.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
So hey, I hear you. I mean,
Different strokes or no strokes.
literally.
Or no strokes.
It is a different stroke.
It's this stroke.
Right. Or
Trying to
this
learn
one.
it too. Trying to learn a thing or two from the stroke. Oh Lord. And then another one, and I forget which episode it was, but it was when we were talking about which award show where Kelly Rowland was talking about the crowd
Chris
and Chris
Brown.
Brown.
The billboard.
Billboard.
The billboard.
Yep.
Mhm.
Was it the Billboard?
It was
Yeah,
the billboard.
it was a
Okay.
billboard. Yeah.
And they were talking about Chris Brown was supposed to be doing the Michael Jackson tribute, and we were just saying, okay, the conversation kind of went to like, when's it too long, and like when did we just say, okay, like he did that shit a long time ago. But we got a couple corrections for a couple folks on it, and it says, first one says, hey aunties, I currently listen to the convo y'all. Oh, it's the AMAs because it says it right here. Y'all had about Chris Brown and the AMAs. Just thought I would share an article outlining what he's done since his abuse against Rihanna. He hasn't stopped being violent and abusive, but it doesn't hit the media as big as that incident did. Just passing along for some awareness, and sent that article over here, and just says Chris Brown, the timeline of violence towards women. And then another community member said here, and I listened a couple weeks ago when you guys spoke on Chris Brown, and I don't think he should have performed either. It wasn't just Rihanna. It was his homophobia, his threatening of women following that, his colorism, etc. there's like a list of things he's done since Rihanna, and I think he has a lot of growing up to do. He even tried to threaten Tyson Beckford at one point, and Tyson had to get him together. I don't think Kelly should have defended him either, but that's all just my 2 cents. So I wasn't aware of a lot of the Chris Brown stuff because I just don't follow him like that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm glad y'all got us together. Be like, damn, no, he's a habitual line stepper. And so I mean, it sounds like it was a good call to X that performance out, and it is what it is. Like, since he hasn't shown that he's grown from those incidences, so.
That's just crazy because like the dude is still going on tour.
Oh, he's
and
selling
like
out
selling
shit,
out
yeah.
like I'm not defending anything or picking any sides or anything along those lines. It just, in my mind, if all this stuff is still happening, I just don't understand how. Yeah, like something's just not adding up. And also, let's get this straight too. America has no problem tearing down a black man in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
So that's my other thing too. Like, if a lot of this stuff is still happening, he will be front page on every single thing. He got to go. He got to go. So,
but we don't keep that same energy for other people. We don't.
But I'm not saying, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that any of the stuff isn't true. What I'm saying is, I have a feeling, like, I want to know the timeline, and that's why I wanted to read the articles that were sent out. You only see the snapshot, so I'm going to go read the articles, but I want to know the timeline of when some of those incidents happened, because like the colorism one, I remember that, but that was over 6-7 years ago. Like, it's been a few years since the colorism part, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do remember that. I do remember there being other incidents as well too, but that shit wasn't 2 years ago. It wasn't 5 years ago. Like, and that was when my question was, at what point, and that's what we were asking in that conversation, at what point do we start working on forgiveness, you know, and giving people the benefit of the doubt or the possibility to grow? So I would love to hear the community's response to that question, not necessarily whether or not he should have performed or not, but at what point do we say is enough time for a person to then start having room to be able to grow and change? What I really want to know, because it's not just about Chris Brown. There are other people out there that do shit as well too, but we still see them in TV, we'll still see them in movies, we still see them in music, right? Exactly. And so I'm curious as to what this line looks like, and is it different for different people? You know, is it the same for everybody? What does that look like? And that's what I want to hear from the community.
And that's so weird. We talk about Rihanna, and they just show Rihanna in the crowd just now. I'm like, damn, putting that shit out there in existence.
She doing that press for the Super Bowl. That's why she there.
Right. And I guess she did get nominated for Wakanda Forever. That.
Oh, she did. Look, not Kerel saying, fuck this podcast. I'm watching this show. Y'all talk.
No lies. I tried to get us to record tomorrow. It didn't happen. So I tried to say every day of the week. It's like, damn. I guess it is tonight. Shit. All right. Well, on that note, but community, again, thank you for sending that in. We love these conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
DMs like this and checking us if we don't know, because we don't claim to know everything. And you know, our history of Googling stuff during an episode ain't there.
And we ain't all gonna agree.
That's a true statement too.
So let's be clear. We can have different points of view and perspectives. We don't all have to agree. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the point that others are bringing up are incorrect or not right or whatever. And it doesn't mean that stuff that we're not saying is invalid for us. If the question is posed to, do you think, I'm going to tell you what I think. And if there's some education that we need.
The only person that would have killed that performance was probably still Chris Brown, low key.
Honestly.
And maybe Usher. Usher came up after that. So I was like, Usher probably could have killed it.
I think Usher doing it. I don't know, but he roller skated in Vegas and shit like that. I don't know.
His knees might be bad.
I'm literally right.
They need to pull up D'Angelo. Get D'Angelo up there.
So I guess if it is problematic though, so that's probably why they asked him.
I understand. 100%. I understand why not, and I understand why people would feel like it's
triggered by it too.
At 1,000%. I'm just asking a completely different question, and that's all about on the line about forgiveness and moving on and letting things go.
I know R. Kelly's still in jail trying to plead his case, and we ain't letting that one go. So stay in there, Ara.
Well, two different things. Different things. Apples and oranges. Both fruit.
You heard that? He was in the news this week, right? Like he was calling from jail still talking about that shit. And he's like, if Lifetime didn't put this on TV, I would still be out there working in the studio. And like, it was such like
you
a
would still be out there.
blind-
You would still be out there abusing women and keeping them in
Yeah.
cages and pissing on them and shit. So
Yeah, that's
stay
what
in
you're
jail
doing.
and you get pissed on. How about that?
Yeah.
Drip, drip, drip. And on that note, we're going to take a quick little tea break. We interrupt this episode for very important information.
That's right. You've been asking for it for a long time, and we have heard you.
Yep, it's been a long time coming, but it's finally here.
Yo,
AunTeas
got
merch! Hey! That's right. You know what? We got tees, we got long tees, we got sweatshirts, we got fanny packs, there's just a whole gamut of stuff out there. So go and check that out.
We are so appreciative of your love and support, and we are so excited to launch it. Girl, where can we find this at?
Ma'am, they can head right over to MinorityReport.com to check out the selection.
That's right. That's MINORITEA report.com.
Woo! I'm about to go get me some myself.
Ooh.
Dawon coming with the zingers.
But you came with the drip, 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 and I was like,
Like we had to go take a little tea break on that shit, huh?
Or a pee break.
All the above. I wanna piss on you.
On you. Drip, drip,
Piss
drip.
on you. Yes, I do wanna pee on you. Okay, what time is it?
Ask your
aunties.
Now, wow, this is the first one of the year too. And you know, I didn't put it in the chat, but I'll read it from here. It says, "Hey aunties, just curious. Any of you doing dry January this year or have done it in the past? I did it for the first time last year and found out it was a great for me to reevaluate my relationship with alcohol. I'm doing it again this year, so I'm just curious." I was like, and if you're not watching on YouTube, you see Dawon's answer was very clear.
Very clear. Very clear. It's a no for her, dog.
And it's interesting that this question's come up because I've seen this kind of pop up across social media. Obviously, dry January, but it seems like a lot of people are kind of talking about it more this year. So,
well, I mean, at the end of the day, how many months gonna be dry this year? Because ain't there dry November and then dry October, dry October,
yeah.
Dry
and then-
October.
and then-
October, I think.
and now it's dry January. Like, if y'all don't want to drink, don't drink. Damn.
But you know, some of the girls need a break. Some of the girls need a cause to pump the brakes. Some of them ain't got no self-control.
If
Do
you
that.
don't want to drink, just don't drink. That's a word.
I mean,
I got shit else to say after that. Damn. I ain't got nothing's gonna live up to that line because you're right. Look, you know, but like for me, I go ahead.
let me just say, at the end of the day, whatever a person needs to do for them, whatever that is, whether it's, not drink for a month, like I'm doing intermittent fasting. So like we all are doing like things, and this is like this, my thing is not like, some New Year's resolution and all that kind of bullshit. I'm just trying something different. So like, I love, I'm sorry, I took a drink right before I said it. So
You really did.
You know what he just said? Literally, all of that's just like you and your little stuff. That's what that whole conversation's been so far.
I'm gonna shut up now. Jerrell, drop some pearls of wisdom for these folks over here, please.
If you want to drink, drink. If you don't want to drink, don't drink. I mean, for me, like I've never partaken in like a dry January or sober October and things like that. I'm not like I'm a social drinker. So if I'm going to go out with friends and things like that, that's when I drink. I don't drink like at home ever, like hardly ever. Like I don't even really drink on the podcast. I know we'll have like the 200th episode and things like that. That's when I'll probably do it. But week in, week out, it's just something that I just never had to do or got in the habit of doing to like wind down from the day and things like that. So for me, it's not, and I say this maybe from a place of privilege where that's just something that my brain doesn't like crave per se, I guess, in a way, and that I don't know how to say it in a good way that's not condescending or feeling any kind of way. But so for me, I don't drink. I could go weeks without drinking already. So I guess I don't necessarily need like a dry whatever. Like if we're gonna go out for the weekend, if we'll go to a bar, okay, I'll grab a couple drinks then. But I hardly even drink at like dinner and things like that if we go out. So for me, that's where my brain is like, I just don't.
Oh,
I guess I'm.
you don't drink at dinner when you go out? Like when you and
Really.
Corey go out to eat, like you don't have like
The
a
only
cocktail
time
or
I will
something?
is like if it's like a special restaurant where they're like, "Oh, you got to try this cocktail." It's like our special cocktail or something. I'm like, okay, I'll try the cocktail.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm
Mm,
not gonna sit
okay.
there like if it's like we're going out to dinner like tonight. I'm not gonna go in and be like, okay, I want a glass of wine or a vodka soda or something like that. It's
Mm.
hardly ever, honestly.
Now you know what? It makes sense why when we be in Dallas, a bitch can throw it back because she be saving it up.
I guess so, right?
She be saving it
Yeah,
up. She be like,
yeah.
look.
That's the only. Those are literally the only times that I really like drinking. I guess in that part, it turns into like this binge moment. But but it's more of a social aspect for me than
Yeah.
just saying, okay, I want to just sit here and have a beverage. So I say that
Mm.
all to say is just like I can have dry January, not even knowing I did a dry January just because I didn't go
Yeah.
out for the month or
Yeah.
something like that. So
That
my
makes sense.
perception of it's just a little different than maybe some other folks.
Yeah. Well, it's not new to the community when it comes to me and Pride Month. I like to do sober Pride Month. So
Yeah.
like so that's kind of that's the only time I really do it, just to, do the opposite of what everyone's doing come Pride Month, which is getting shit faced. But I will say this though, I do like when I do take that time to not drink. I do like how my body starts to feel. I can feel a difference,
Hmm.
which is something that's really nice. But to be honest, even now, I really don't drink that often at home. Like I probably go out once a weekend, maybe if that. I like to just stay. I like to stay my ass in the house these days. I am not made for the streets these days. I am off the market. I don't need to be in nobody's streets.
Yeah.
So honestly, I really don't drink that much. I'm kind of like you, Kerel. When I go out and I'm socializing, I'll drink. Other than that, no, I'm okay. If I have a stress day, I will wind down. If I have a stressful day at work, and I will have a glass of wine. But
Yeah.
even then, it's a glass,
Right.
if that.
Right.
So
But like and I like that it is maybe for some folks giving you a second of pause or just trying to figure out your relationship with alcohol because it can be a
hmm
slippery slope for sure,
hmm
and if that's what you need to reevaluate your situation and be like, you know what, maybe I've been drinking a little much lately, let me step back for a second or a couple months or whatever. And a lot of times the habitual nature of it turns into, okay, I'm gonna do it in February too because I feel good
Yeah.
and I like what it is and I'm saving some coin.
hmm
And let's
So
not pretend that, like in January, we're not coming off of like a long string of parties, like,
yeah, that's true
holiday
too.
events when all the way from October, everything
Yeah,
geared up towards Halloween, all the way through Thanksgiving, all the way through Christmas, and then New Year's, like party, getting together with a bunch of people. Like even for social, like I consider myself to be a social drinker. Like I don't typically drink during the middle of the week. Like my liquor cabinet, wine cabinet, whatever, stays stocked, and it stays completely stocked and untouched until I have people over.
yeah,
Or,
yeah.
hmm
That's
like
how
we're,
ours are.
we're doing a little thing like this. Like, and so I totally get, like for me, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing intermittent fasting right now. It's like I give myself license to eat whatever I want for the entire basically from October until the end of the year. And then January is like, okay, I need to cleanse. I need to like, flush. I need to da 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 da. So like in the same vein of that, if somebody's doing like dry January because you're coming off of 2.5 months of binging just because of circumstance, not even because you're like, oh, I'm just hanging at home, like kicking down 2 bottles of wine every single night.
Yeah,
hmm
I'm sure there are people that are out there like that, but most people aren't. So like, I get the idea of like, oh, I just need to detox. I don't have a problematic relationship with alcohol or whatever, but I just need to like cut back. I think
yeah,
that's dope. I think that's dope.
yeah.
hmm
Am I doing it? No.
Right, that is the question. I guess the question is like, nope. That is too funny. But yeah, kudos to doing what you need to do for yourself. Everybody knows what you need to do and taking the steps to do so. So because sometimes we know what we need to do and we don't do it still.
Yeah, and it can also be hard though too, because like,
1,000.
because and that's one of the reasons why I can't do it, because I'm a social drinker. It is so hard for me to be out in public around all these trashy ass people and not have a drink. It's
all
just
these
so
trash
hard.
ass drag queens serving ice water.
Like
all
I
these
be
Silkies out here.
I be trying to keep my hands to myself, so that's why I keep a glass in my hand.
Oh damn.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. I will tell you though, as corny as it sounds, having somebody to do it with you is an incredible, like, it's an incredible support system. Like, you know, having somebody that's doing like whatever it is that you're trying, you're trying, you're testing out, you're like experimenting with whatever. If you're doing dry January and you have some other person that's doing it with you, that is like the best thing, because you keep each other accountable. Yeah.
So, well, continue to send your Ashy Aunties. It's a brand new year. We need some new ones. So if you haven't sent it or you've been thinking about sending it, you might as well send it. We keep the names anonymous. We don't judge because, I mean, shit, you know our lives.
So right, you got the ammo, sure.
Honey, that's a word. So continue to send your Ashy Aunties. A lot of times, 99% of it is in DMs. But if you want to email us, it's at aya@minorityareport.com. And I got it in the new year, bitch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. New year, new you.
I noticed
Come on
that
now.
too.
Yes. And shout out, by the way, I meant to do this at the beginning. Shout out, there's been a lot of Founders Day for a lot of Greek and sororities. Like more than half of the Divine Nine has had their Founders Day in the last several weeks. So we have Kappa Alpha Psi, we have Phi Beta Sigma, we have Delta Sigma Theta, we have the AKAs Alpha Kappa Alpha, and the Zetas, the Zeta Phi Betas. So helping Founders Day today, we know a lot of folks in the community are in these Black sorority and fraternities. And it's one of those things that I kind of wish I did. Like looking back at it, like I had this moment in college. Part of me was like, okay, I already hang out with these people, so why am I paying? I'm broke as it is. So like, you already invite me to the same parties, so I gotta pay to be obligated to go to these same parties. I'm already out here.
I'm already going to these
wasn't
parties.
Even flex, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But now I look back, I'm like, damn, it would have been kind of cool. Even like post, that part of it, it's like I didn't think about like the post career or college career life where you still have these sororities, fraternities where you still get together and help your communities. Not to say I don't, but like it's cool, like you said, to do stuff with folks and show those community oriented things that you do and to see the impact. So that's the stuff. And I guess I could pledge now, but you know, it's like I wanted that college career. Do
you think that would have changed your trajectory of coming out? Because you think about like,
That's
you know, the life that you've led so far and like your coming out journey. Do you think that would have impacted that? Because I'll tell you, that was a very strong consideration of mine when I went into college, and I specifically and purposefully chose not to pledge because I wanted to come out, and at that time. I think
it was part of my fear.
Yeah, that was not the thing that you did back in the day.
Yeah, no, I think it was part of my fear. Honestly, that's why I didn't pledge in the Black fraternities. And then I also had an opportunity in a couple of the white fraternities to pledge. And it was the same fear. It's just like, ooh, they really gonna see me. And I don't want them to put me with some chick that I don't want to sleep with. It's already hard enough for me to hide as it is throughout my college career. Going through this, that number one. It was the number one. And then the number two was like, if I pledged the white fraternity, my mind was thinking, oh, what are my Black friends and Black family and things like that are going to think. And then the Black fraternity, I was like, well, you know, if I do the Black fraternity, my dad was an elf, or no, what was my dad? A Kappa. Ooh, I better get it right. He'd be like, boy, he was a Kappa. So if I do something different, then is he like? So at that point in my life, I was constantly thinking of what everyone else's perception was of me. So I just wasn't in a good frame of knowing who I was, I guess, at that point, and am to do anything on that level. And so that's why I look back at it now where I'm like, oh, that would have been fun but it's Kerel at 38 speaking,
Right.
looking back instead of Kerel at 19.
The not out, not
Exactly.
No.
1000%.
self-aware, da 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 da.
1000%.
Even for my little college career stunt or stint or whatever the case is, it never crossed my mind because I really hated people telling me what to do. So there was no way I was getting through the hazing thing. Like you couldn't tell my ass and nothing at 18.
Yeah.
So there was no way you want me to do what? No, I ain't doing it. No,
It's a no for me, dog.
no, it's a no for me. So, and I was like, I hadn't learned how to put a filter on. I was giving everyone everything, what was ever on my mind or how I felt at all times. It was
Yeah.
pedal to the metal the whole time at 18, 19. So
It's
I was fighting too much, and I didn't like enough people to be doing all that. It was enough for me.
That's an interesting question because I haven't thought about this in a long time because like I was still very involved in college and just different organizations and things like that, like too much, honestly. But I'm wondering if my thought process was like some of these are safer for me to be involved in because I know I'm not going to be sought out in that regard. That's an honestly, I haven't thought of this in like 20 years. So that's an interesting thought. And sometimes in those moments, especially that young, you just make your decision. It is what it is, and you move on and try to survive. So it might have even been that thought, that deep of a thought process. I thought I was going to be scared. I was scared of it and said, I'm not going to do it, and moved on to the next fear that I was probably trying to hide and things like that. But
I know it was a
clearer
very
head.
purposeful, intentional decision on my behalf. I remember the whole process, of like deciding like what I wanted my college experience to be because my whole point of going to college, I went away for college. So I lived on campus, but I was like 40 minutes away from home. So so I was far enough where I could actually create a life, or what I thought I could create a life for myself, but close enough that I can get back home because I'm 17 years old and blah, blah, blah. But like, I knew that I wanted to come out, and I actually wanted to come out my freshman year. I didn't actually come out until my junior year. But that was a very purposeful decision, going into college.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. Because like I guess I've never even brought stuff like that. Honestly, I don't even think anyone knows that logic. There's people that I'm still friends with in the white fraternity, like maybe associates. Like it's not that I talk to them all the time, but like especially through Facebook, or if like I'm back in Michigan, I'll run into people. And there's a couple of them that still kind of give me shit. They're like, "Oh, Kerel thought he was too cool to join our fraternity and this and that." And it's interesting that that's their perception of it, but mine was like, I was so fucking scared. I was so fucking scared.
That's a real thing.
And I've never told them that. So hopefully this segment gets out there if they're listening to it. But if not, now it's kind of, and I haven't thought about it really in so long, but like now it kind of has freed me of that 19-year-old Kerel and be like, dude, I was fucking scared. I was scared to be outed. I was scared to be, white fraternity as a black guy. And then I was scared in the black fraternity because who knows what the hell if they find out I'm gay. Yeah. 1000%.
And it's so wild because when you think about like what that would have meant, like you're in college, like I went to a state school. So I went to Kent State University, and there were 50,000 freshmen starting every single semester. So if I lost all my friends,
you got
like,
49,900.
Right. Like, but it's so overwhelming, like that kind of like mental process of like how I want to be perceived and how like I want to come out, but I'm kind of scared to do so, and it's a very interesting process. Very different today, but
and I'm sure a lot of kids still probably have that fear because it's still out there. But it's just interesting. It's the one time in life that you could really, I mean, you have the, if anything, you have the permission to revamp your life all day, every day. It maybe gets a little harder just because bills still show the fuck up and they don't care. But it's one of the few times I feel like in life that you just had the complete, almost freedom.
You have autonomy to do whatever you want.
Who you want to be and what you want to be and where you want to go.
And don't be living on campus. Like,
like it was a rat. I still enjoyed my career. Don't get me wrong. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. But it's just interesting how sometimes that fear could just even over like could just, and I hate using the word Trump, but like Trump even the freedom that you have been afforded and the privilege, honestly, in that space to afford it. And again, I enjoyed my career, made great friends, got involved in a lot, and it's provided me the trajectory I'm on now.
I remember.
But bitch, if I was out in college, bitch.
Look, I remember before I came out, and Kent State's a liberal arts school, so like if ever there was a place where
that
you
is
could,
right.
like, you know, and I was a fashion design major.
Honey, they
wasn't
knew.
fooling anybody. And I remember my friends were like,
he said, hello, designers.
Yeah, we know that you're gay. And I'm like, I'm not gay. I threw a hissy fit and walked out.
And walked staying out that room, bitch. he had everything except the ponytail.
Hands on my hair was long. I grew my hair out. So I was like, what? I am not gay. I can't believe you said that. I'm leaving.
And they was like, girl, please.
Girl. If you don't sashay your ass back down here and finish these hots.
I know that's right. Have you looked back, and this kind of, I mean, this was on the list, but have you looked back at like some pictures of yourself younger and be like, girl, you
ma'am,
you wasn't fooling no one.
Ma'am. Oh my God.
There's some pictures of, especially like when I was young, before I think a lot of the the notions were really put on me. I feel like there's always a time in people's lives where there's this innocence, and then something happens or you hear something and then it's gone, like in an instant. And but there's some pictures of me from like still maybe in that innocent zone where I'm like, I was free and just sashaying a little bit and things like that. And I feel happy but sad at the same time. It's just like there was a freedom in that moment, and I don't know when I lost it, you know. And then luckily I've gained it back for sure. But it's interesting to look back at some of those moments. So yeah.
It is. It's like cringy. Like I'll look back at like when I was 13 or 14, and like, you know, this was like 1992. So this was like crisscross, like, you know, like here I am wearing my like overalls with one snap on and my bangs.
Honey, a word. A word.
Just a sizzling. Here I thought I was covered. No, you sizzling, bitch.
You sizzling, baby. Little hair, baby.
Leaving a little trail of sugar wherever I walk.
Earrings, at least 2 pair. I know that's right, but oh man, that's the joys of life.
That's it.
Before we get out of here, I don't even want to end on it. I was gonna bring up the Brazilian insurrection stuff, but like that's a bad note to end on. It's crazy. I'll just say this about that whole situation. It shows you what hate can do to a world, because you know that shit started here in the U.S. with the last regime here, and it gave other places in this world courage and permission to do that shit.
It's a virus.
It's crazy.
It's a virus.
And so if you think you can do that with hatred and viruses like that, why can't we do that with love? Love does the exact same thing. Like you see a nice situation, you see someone helping someone out, you're like, oh, that was dope. And you get that warm and fuzzy feeling. Like, why can't we do that? Like, it bothers the shit out of me. So, but anyway, anything else? I mean, we at the hour. Anything on your hearts and minds?
Not on my end. I do. For some reason, though, Dawon, I can't stop looking at this black doll on the back of your screen.
The Barbie?
Yeah.
Hold on.
She's so cute. She's so cute.
You gotta go get her.
Yeah.
Because I be seeing that on social media. You be putting it on social.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Barbie.
But
she is beautiful, isn't she? Like, look
like,
at that face.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's like, Miss France!
Yeah.
That video Y'all took me out. Piers and I were laughing so hard. We literally said when we go to France, we're gonna be taking a collage of. We're gonna be doing that all the time in France.
I watched that thing probably like 20 times.
Have you seen the long version?
God.
Because like
No.
it is like a like escalator of women just coming in talking from all of these countries, and then here come France, and
then comes her.
France. I was like, what in the shit?
Oh my God! You know she is so embarrassed that she going viral across the world.
Embarrassed, Joe.
Too much. Well,
yeah, but that's my little holiday Barbie. So she comes out every single year. I had to I bought some rollers because I'm going to actually do her hair for next year because it's getting a little
sizzling, baby.
It's getting a little, you know, it's not giving. So, but
it's not giving what
okay, because it makes sense. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I have not seen this because last year we weren't recording during the holiday season, so I haven't seen it before. So I'm sitting here like, there's something in the background that is not normally there. But
yeah, she'll be there through probably the rest of this month, and then I'll like wrap her hair up and then put her back up, and then for next year, and then next year I'll pull the rollers out and be like,
get her a little bonnet, a little Barbie bonnet, you know, just
get that little hair net.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time that I'll actually be doing her hair. So I had to like Google and smoogle to find the appropriate size rods to get the kind of tendrils that I'm hoping to create. So
I'm gonna make sure she is sitting right.
Sizzling, baby. I'm so here for it.
And I don't give a damn.
That's the freedom that we wanted, and we got it, bitch.
I read an article yesterday. Yesterday. I read an article yesterday that 15% of toy sales are made by adults for themselves.
Oh, I believe it.
15%. Yeah. So, and there ain't no shame in my game. I love me a little black Barbie with some delicious little frothy 1980s beautiful Robin Givens hair.
And like Aretha Franklin says, gowns, beautiful gowns.
Yeah.
It's fun, and this just sparks something. I guess we maybe end on this, but like every holiday, I always tell Corey, like, I'm like, we need just more Black Santa, just more Black nativity stuff, blah blah blah. And it's just still hard, even in 2023, to find stuff like that. But I was like, growing up, like my best friend Chris, his dad and we go over there every Christmas Eve to this day. I went there again this year. It's just a tradition that we've done for 32 years. And his dad collects like Black angels and black stuff. And I asked him this Christmas, because I've never asked him this. I'm like, I've been struggling finding Black angels and Black Christmas stuff. However, I know it exists because that's all I've seen all my life, coming here every year. And like even my parents and things like that got stuff from him over the years. And he goes, oh, this is the trick. He's like, this is what I've done all the years. I paint them black. Mind fucking blown. He takes the due diligence he's like, every year I'll go and grab the white angels and I'll sit there and paint them black.
That's awesome.
Bitch.
That's
Did not know. And I was like, shut up. He's like, yeah, he's like, it's always been hard. He's like, every once in a while, he was like, you'll find one or two things that here and there. He's like, and I'll grab them. But he's like, that's a sucky thing. Especially because I was like, in Midland, Michigan, like it's like the whitest town on earth. So I'm like, how did you do this?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if you go and take the time.
See, that's a life hack. That's a life hack.
It's a life hack. And it just shows you the love of Black excellence. Yeah. That he would take the due diligence. And the house is like 2,600 square feet. Every Christmas, because he just, and I should have known he did it, because he's just like an artist in that regard, and a carpenter and things like that. Even though he was a chemist at Dow, he just always does that. To take the due diligence year in, year out, and sit, and like, I mean, that shit is like so meticulous. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's what I love to hear, and it made me even love it even more. Than him just saying, "Oh, I bought it at Amazon." Just like, he's like, "No, I took the due diligence and paint these angels black, so we would see representation." Growing up, like, it makes me want to boohoo. It makes me want to boohoo. So, and here he is, like he's, I think, like 70, and it's just like and it was still like a warmth to when he said that shit. Like he was proud, So
You know
that's
what's
that Black Barbie's. That's what, like, long-winded story. That's what it kind of feels to me as well. Seeing that Black Barbie is that representation of that.
This I played with dolls like as a kid, and I had an affinity for dolls that were a little bit like my complexion or lighter, and I never really was drawn to. And I think this was part of like that whole like like self-acceptance, all that kind of like stuff or whatever. And like a couple years ago, it's like I like if you look at my Instagram feed, it ain't nothing but like dolls and and like and guys getting buzz cuts and like and barbershops. Like it's the weirdest dichotomy of stuff. Well,
me and Jerrell see that because I be seeing Jerrell liking. I'm like, I like it too, bitch.
No, I had to change my. I liked one picture in my whole algorithm that time. I was like, where do all my Barbies go? Damn, I'm tired of seeing all these bumps and lumps. And so, but
I mean,
but I say all that to say that like for the longest time, I bought ever since my niece was probably of age where she could remember Christmas, so maybe 3 or 4, I only bought her black dolls. And because I wanted her, and her mom does too, but like I wanted her to have, I wanted her to see her color, her skin color, her hair texture. Like I wanted her to like see beauty in that and to be surrounded by that. And so I remember one year, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I bought her like a holiday Barbie. And as soon as she got it, like the clothes came off, she dipped her in a tub, and it was like, I was like, she was so beautiful. So then, like, what in the hell? She was so gorgeous. I was like, what the hell? I thought she was gonna be like, oh my god, that is the most beautiful thing. She was like, oh,
she said no, but she want to go swimming.
She said, I play an Ariel. And so after that, I was like, I want to find one for myself, because like I've kind of denied that part, being an adult. Like, I'm all for like, masculine, feminine, or whatever, but like I always got value. I always had a lot of fun and a lot of really great memories out of just playing with dolls. And so whether it was like changing clothes or coming up with stories in my head and da 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 da. And even though I have an older brother and a younger sister, we played together, but like I loved being by myself in the room doing like my own little thing and then getting in trouble for playing with our dolls and da 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 da. So like this was kind of like, I don't want to say like retribution, but it was like, I was like, this is what I would have. That like this is my girl. So yeah.
If you haven't learned anything, give yourself permission, as long as it's not harming. My dad always said, and he uses the word man for like mankind, which I guess is still another gender term. He's like, as long as you're not robbing God, yourself, and man, enjoy what you want to enjoy. And even though he used to tell us that, like, I still felt like there's sometimes maybe messaging, maybe not necessarily from him, but like just from the world saying, nah, but you can't do this. And that's anything now as I get older, it's like, enjoy life. Like, enjoy what you like. Give yourself that permission.
Do it. No matter how silly it is, no matter how whatever it is, no matter what people are going to think about it. Like, you do you.
Yeah. I used to love dolls. I'll save it for another day, but I used to love dolls and used to get in trouble too, because they were my sisters, and I used to like cut the hair, want to see different things. And I used to sit there laying on the couch, flipping the dolls like they were like gymnasts. And like doing spins and shit, like
not Dominique Dawes,
honey, a word. And so they were like, "Why you get your sister stuff?" And I'm like, and I would like, it's embarrassing at that age, but like, I just like it. I like to flip it, and I like the design of it. I like the hair flip.
I remember one time.
Say that shit when you're 10.
I remember one time I was like 11. It was like 11, and I don't know if you remember this old song by Soul to Soul, "Back to Life," back to reality. And they all had like dreadlocks, and they were like really long. I remember I had a Barbie that I tried to make dreadlocks with, and those things were so damn stiff. I was so mad. I spent like an hour and a half trying to make dreadlocks out of this doll's hair, and I was like trying to like make it like move like, and it was like doing this. I was like,
this is stiff wear.
And community, if y'all got some interesting doll stories, share it with us, because we want to hear it.
Billy, he got a whole red gown, a little velvet gown on. Okay, well, community, hope you're safe out there. I don't know what else to say. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. See you next week, loves.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.